All right, the playoffs, they're finally here. It's been a long season, especially here in Philadelphia. God, that second half of the season. But the postseason is here. The playoff picture has, resolved itself. And we're here to talk about Week 17, but more importantly, make our predictions for the upcoming postseason. Kyle Gaffner, James Worthington are both here. I'm Adrian Fedque. How's it going, guys? Are you guys recovered from all the shenanigans during New Year's?
Hey, brought in the new year the right way. Still recovering a little bit. Don't bounce back like I used to, but it was still a good year.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm glad my company observed New Year's today. Had the day off. Got to go down to the game yesterday and kind of wrap up the season well and start a new year. And hey, man, the Eagles are 1-0 in 2017, so it's optimistic.
Undefeated in 2017 is going to remain that way for a little while, so it's nice. And who will not be undefeated? One team that will not be undefeated when the season starts, it'll be Dallas. Just watch. All right, so we'll just briefly recap Week 17, the games from yesterday. Not really too many games that were really wound up being important. The Redskins laid a dud. They lost to the Giants. Giants showed up to play. Their defense came balling. And really the only other game that mattered was the Packers and Lions on Sunday night, where the loser, because of the Redskins' loss, made the postseason. So those two games, and then the AFC West was still up for grabs. But I think we kind of knew that Oakland was going to lose and that the Chiefs would win that division. So Packers and Redskins, what were your thoughts on those two games?
The Redskins came out. I thought they would come out like firing, and they didn't. They just looked like they were lackadaisical. I mean, it looked like the Giants wanted it more than the Redskins did. And that Packers game was awesome to watch. I mean, I know you both made the playoffs, so it didn't matter, but you want to have home field advantage. You want to go in there and have everybody come into your home stadium. I mean, going to Lambeau, those guys are great playing there. And poor Detroit, they haven't had a home playoff game since 1993. I mean, when it rains, it pours for these guys, but they still made it. Kudos to Jim Caldwell. But I'm glad to see that only two NFC East teams made it in rather than all three.
You got to agree with you there, man. Was definitely rooting for that. I am surprised Washington lost at home, especially with the Giants being locked in as the 5. I mean, I know they wanted to keep their momentum going forward, and the defense played really good yesterday. But I was just surprised. All that firepower on offense and the home crowd, you'd think they'd come out and play better. And, yeah, the Green Bay game, I mean, both teams looked like they wanted it pretty bad. It was pretty close to the end, I think, because I only watched the first. I fell asleep at the end, honestly. But It was a good game. I watched highlights this morning, and Aaron Rodgers just tore it up in the second half. I mean, he has catapulted himself into the MVP race. Him or Matt Ryan, we'll see. Maybe a couple other guys. We'll probably talk about that later. But it'll be interesting because neither of those teams wanted to go to Seattle for the opening round, and it looks like that's Detroit. So,
yeah. With the Giants, this is kind of what I took away from it. I know that they already sewed up the number 5 seed, but that was a playoff game for them, and they're a 5 seed, so they're going to have to go on the road in the playoffs to win a couple of games in order to get to the Super Bowl. And for them, it was almost like a trial run of a playoff game, of a road playoff game, because Washington had everything to play for. The Giants didn't. Giants showed up, played great defensively again. That defense has really ratcheted up over the last month or two of the season. They're playing really, really good football, and that's what I took away from it, because I thought they were going to sit there, guys. I didn't think they were going to play all the way through. I thought they were just going to kind of let that go, and the Redskins were going to win, and it didn't happen that way. And Kirk Cousins throws a pick at the end, and Captain Kirk, I still think he's overrated, but when it mattered, he didn't come through for them. So the Redskins are out. The Lions are in, sneaking in through the back door, the Lions, but they didn't make the postseason. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. All right, the other thing that happened yesterday, quarterback got hurt. Tom Savage from Houston. I will just touch on this real quickly. Some people are saying he shouldn't have played. I completely disagree because, he's young. He needs the snaps. He needs the time to gel with the offense. I don't understand where those people are coming from.
I guess they figured they wanted to save him for the playoffs, but the kid needs reps. He hasn't played in many games. What has he got? Two games under his belt? Brock Osweiler came in, and how do you get a concussion on like a 4th-and-1 QB sneak, man? Like, is this guy soft? Like, what is this? I hate Houston. It was a shame to see them play because we had touched on it all season. They're boring to watch. They're not fun. And now that they're going to be playing, it's like, is anybody going to tune into this playoff game? Because it's going to suck.
I mean, honestly, the game is going to be pretty bad. Bad quarterback play there. Wow, it's going to be a rating stud. But, I mean, the rest of the games will be good, and I'm sure I'll end up watching that one. But, yeah, I mean, Brock Osweiler, I guess, is Savage. How long is Savage out? Is he definitely not playing? Or
I don't think it's been determined yet. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Savage should have played. I mean, he hasn't played that much. You got to get him ready for the playoffs. I mean, it's a home playoff game it's a winnable game for Houston. And they lose, I think, the first round almost every year. And then one more thing I got to say, kudos to the Dolphins for proving me and Adrian wrong. They did not fade at all, especially after the quarterback injury. So hell of a job by them. And they'll play, I think, Pittsburgh this weekend. And we'll see. I think Pittsburgh will win, but who knows, man? Miami's been proving me wrong all year.
And they beat them earlier in the season.
Yeah. They did. Was that game in Miami though?
The game was in Miami. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they've been proving me wrong all season long. That just shows how great Adam Gase is, and it really makes me jealous because that was the guy I wanted. I wanted him so bad. I wanted him. He's so good.
Great quarterback. It would have been such a dream to have him and Carson working together.
Oh, I know.
Oh yeah. Anyway, the guy that he would have replaced is now looking for another job. Chip Kelly got the axe in San Francisco. Whether or not that was the right decision, I mean, obviously a lot of Philadelphia thinks it's the right decision, but you're really not supposed to get rid of a coach after one season. But Jed York is not, like everybody else. He just gets rid of you. One season he doesn't like you, you're out. You're gone. Bye. He's the worst owner in sports right now. But I did a whole video last night about Chip Kelly. You can watch that. I'm not going to give my thoughts. I'm just going to let you guys go, and you guys can did they do the right thing? Should Chip Kelly have been fired?
No, I don't think he should have been fired. Yeah, they had a putrid season, but look at this team. They're lacking on talent all over the place. I think they should have gave him another year or two to kind of put his imprint on this team, because when they did play, I mean, they were competitive in some games. He had the running game going. I mean, you don't have a quarterback. Yeah, everybody thought it would be a dream scenario with him and Colin Kaepernick. He finally has a scrambling quarterback, but Colin Kaepernick, we all know, sucks. He's not good. The only reason he had a good run is because he had a great team built around him. But, I mean, Jed York is a moron because that whole situation with Trent Baalke and then choosing him between Harbaugh, I mean, we know that whole drama story that happened there. But he is one of the worst owners in sports. But
no,
it's a shame for Chip. It's a shame for Chip. I'm not a Chip Kelly fan. I think he should have been given another year or two to kind of see what he could have done with this team. But, again, they're on the search for another coach.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple things with that. One, did you guys hear Steve Young, I'm pretty sure, called out their front office, which is pretty interesting, and I think he was right. But I don't think Chip should have been fired. I'm a firm believer in at least giving a new coach more than one season. I'd say 2 or 3 at the very minimum. But I think Chip's biggest problem is he's too stubborn, doesn't want to change his ways. He doesn't want to listen and just have people around him that know the NFL kind of mold his philosophy into an NFL philosophy. And if he was being too stubborn and not willing to change, then you got to get rid of him. So we don't know what went on behind closed doors. I do think, I mean, he should have had another year or two, but if he wasn't willing to change, wasn't willing to slow down the tempo here and there, and or if he maybe wanted more control of player personnel, who knows? But, I mean, maybe they're also thinking they're going to draft their future quarterback and just figure new quarterback, new GM, new coach, and that might be better too. So, I mean, it's a shame. I'm not the biggest Chip Kelly fan, but you'd think he'd get more than one season. But, I mean, if that's what they thought they had to do to go in a new direction, all the power to him.
He's still getting paid from both organizations. So
yeah, his wallet, his bank account's the winner, man.
Yeah. So I really won't give my thoughts, but like, did Jed York really think like the Niners were going to compete this year with that roster? Are you serious?
Terrible roster. But they lost Bowman in the middle of the season too, and he's like their only player.
Yeah, he was one of their top, only top players. So it's funny how it's a shame because they were one of the most talented teams at one point, and to decimate that quick between 2 or 3 years, it's amazing.
Good job, Jed. Way to go, pal. So
we'll see how long he gives this next guy, whoever that may be.
If I'm a coach, I do not want to go to San Francisco with that one.
And it's a weak quarterback class too. Like I don't like anyone really.
If I'm like San Francisco or Cleveland, I'm passing on them. I'm taking, Myles Garrett, Jonathan Allen. I'm taking those guys.
Yeah, one of those two are trading back again. Maybe Cleveland will trade back again and just keep accumulating picks. Little Sam Hinkie philosophy.
Yeah. This is where they'll go out. This is what they should have done last year: is drafted Carson Wentz instead of trading out. But this year they'll probably stay and draft like Shizers or.
Watch them draft Shizer. I've been thinking that all year they'll draft him, and the one guy that's going to soar up draft boards, that Mitch whatever his name is, Trubisky or something, Carolina. He'll shoot up draft boards because he's got the stereotypical size, big arm, kind of like Carson Wentz. I mean, he played better competition, but he hasn't played a lot at all, so it's really all projection with him. But he's a name that'll shoot up. I think Watson, I don't know. I think he's got something there, but 2 early turnovers in that Clemson-Ohio State game. I don't know. I mean, TBD on him. I'm not out. I'm not in.
I think all these quarterbacks are going to have to sit for a while and learn, but in front of a veteran quarterback. But look at all the quarterback-needy teams that are drafted in the top 10. You got the Jets. You got Chicago, you got freaking Cleveland, San Francisco. So it'll be interesting if these guys will just get drafted just because of how needy the quarterback position is there. And there's not many good vets out there either in free agency. So there might be a trade here for a Tony Romo, a Jay Cutler. If this guy can get another starting job, it'd be surprising, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, the best quarterbacks are still in college right now. Lamar Jackson. I like me some Jake Browning. Jake Browning would be the best quarterback in this class. Lamar Jackson would be the best quarterback in this class. I think Watson's the best one, but Watson is like a second or third round guy. You compare him to other classes, he's going to be the third or fourth guy taken. So
easily.
Yeah, I'm not a Deshaun Kaiser fan. I think he's a bust. Trubisky, I watched the Sun Bowl. He's got some quick feet in the pocket. I like the way how he works the pocket. He does have a big arm. There are some throws where you're like, whoa, okay, you can sling it a little bit. I can see it. I can see the hype. But, he is raw. He's only had 1 year of college ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he pans out. All right, moving on. MVP talk. Who's going to win the MVP?
I think you got to go with Aaron Rodgers the way he's been playing. But it's not nobody's running away with this award this year. You've got so many candidates. It's going to come down to a close vote. An electoral college, that's for sure. A lot closer than the presidency was, but we will see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you ask me who I think's going to win it, I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers because of, he's Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Pretty much they're going to look at what he did with, and not a lot. I mean, he's got good talent at the receiving core, not much of a run game. The defense has been shitty all year, although, as we've said in the past with Demarius Randall back, they've been better. But I think who deserves it the most, just on a large scale of consistency throughout the whole year, availability is what would knock out Tom Brady with that point, is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has almost identical stats to Rodgers. Their team's been consistent all year. They've had a good road victory in Denver, a really close game in Seattle, only lost by 2 points. And, I mean, he does have a lot of talent around him, but that's what he's supposed to do. He did what he's supposed to do. They're in the playoffs, the 2 seed. And, I mean, he's been the most consistent guy all year. So I think he's the most deserving, but I think it's going to go to Rodgers.
Matt Ryan should win the MVP. He should. He's obviously not a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. But when you really look at all right, so you got the stats. Aaron Rodgers, 40 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Matt Ryan, 38-7. Matt Ryan has a higher quarterback rating, 117.1 to 104.2 for Rodgers. But everyone's talking about, the last 6 games from the Packers, how they're 6-0, how Aaron Rodgers has 15 touchdowns, no interceptions. Well, during that same stretch, the Falcons are 5-1. Their only loss came against the Chiefs on a 2-point play where their extra point got blocked and they returned it for a touchdown. During that same time frame, Matt Ryan has 14 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The Falcons are playing almost pretty much just as well as the Packers, but nobody's talking about it. They're just flying under the radar. And honestly, that's probably exactly what Atlanta wants. So I think Matt Ryan has been more consistent throughout the season. I think he deserves the award. For a while, I thought Tom Brady was going to win it because there wasn't like a guy that was really standing out. But Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, they've really picked up their play over the last month or two. So I would say, yeah, Matt Ryan. You can say, I mean, some people argue that Ezekiel Elliott should win MVP. But we talked about this pre-show. If you're going to give it to him, you might as well give it to the whole offensive line. So I'm not giving it to Zeke, and I'm not going to give it to Dak Prescott either. So I think it's either going to be Matt Ryan or Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Derek Carr would have been in the conversation too if he didn't break his leg for what he had done with his organization, bringing them out of 14-year playoff slump. I think he was even in talks for MVP. But I think it might lean more towards Aaron Rodgers because they were 4-6 at one point, and they rallied off and made that run. They haven't had a running game. I mean, they have Ty Montgomery, a wide receiver, playing at running back. So I think the polls are going to lean more towards him, but I agree with you guys. I think Matt Ryan is well-deserving of this award.
Yeah, I think Rodgers really benefited from the fact that he said, I see no reason why we can't run the table and win the division, make the playoffs, and they did it. Yeah. It is amazing in itself, and it was basically spearheaded by him. Without Aaron Rodgers playing the way he played, there's no way that happens. But, yeah, you look at the body of work, and, like, even a couple weeks ago, I was of the mindset Tom Brady's going to win it. I mean, the Patriots are 14-2. But Atlanta's got the 2 seed, and I think Matt Ryan really benefits from when you look at the body of work of an entire season. It's him by far and away, I think. It's been the most consistently best player in the league. But, you know, Tom Brady wasn't available the first 4 games. Once he came back, the guy's been unbelievable. I mean, he went for 28-2. He beat Foles by 1 touchdown. It's really impressive.
I'm going to bust next year now. Tom Brady. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be surprised if either of them wins. I mean, if it's Rodgers, it's Rodgers. I get it. But, you know, my point is like, again, it's like Atlanta really is sneaking on the radar. That's a good point with, well, you know, we're going to run the table quote, and then he went and did it. I see it. I get it. But during that same time frame, Atlanta has played just as well. And barring that one 2-point conversion, whatever you want, what is that called? Like you block, they block the extra point and return it for 2.
I don't even know. Yeah, like a 2-point.
A failed 2-point save.
Yeah, I don't know. Return, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so they lost on that. That was their only loss, and they've been kicking the shit out of everybody. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull up their. Let's see if I have it. Okay, so here we go. And they also beat the Packers this year. All right, so their last 6 games. Cardinals, they beat them 38-19. Lost to the Chiefs 29-18. 29-28, I mean. Rams, 42-14 win. 49ers, 41-13 win. Panthers, 33-16 win. And the Saints yesterday, they were blowing them out before the Saints came back late, and they won that 38-32. So, I mean, everyone's talking Packers, but the Falcons are really, really playing just as well.
They both got high-octane offenses and subpar defenses that just score a lot of points. So they're going to have to outscore their opponent, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, Atlanta's defense has actually picked it up the past couple of weeks, and they got a couple young players on that side of the ball playing a lot better. I mean, I think Vic Beasley, he lead the league in sacks this year, which is awesome considering he wasn't that good last year, which just goes to show even in your undersized speed pass rusher, you know, it might take a year or two because that's all technique and footwork and timing. But yeah, I mean, it's just they've blown out the bad teams. Like they didn't have any really close games at the end of the stretch with like Seattle yesterday, 25-23. I know you said earlier they pulled Russell Wilson, but it's like Atlanta, just you look at their schedule, it wasn't that hard when the Packers were beating like Seattle. They beat us, you know, Detroit, but they didn't. They did what they were supposed to do. You know, they won, 42-13, 42-14, like great, you know. So, and like you said, they're flying under the radar. Nobody's really paying attention to them, and that's a great place to be this time of year. Yep. So I think they're very dangerous in the playoffs.
I would definitely agree with that. And I guess we can move on to playoff predictions. I got nothing unless there's something else you guys want to talk about.
I'm ready for playoffs, man.
Yeah, I think we hit on everything.
All right, let's do it. Playoffs. All right, let's start. Let's get the shitty game out of the way. Houston and Oakland. Who wins?
Oh God, man, if maybe Houston, if Oakland can get their run game going, maybe. But I don't. I think Houston takes this just because they're at home and they've been there before. It's because we don't know if McGloin's going to play or Cook, so it's.
So you're trying to say that the Raiders are cooked?
Yeah, they're pretty much done. We knew that once Derek Carr went down, they were finished because they looked awful yesterday. They just looked really bad, and they don't really have a defense to lean on. When you load 8 guys in the box to stop Latavius Murray, you're pretty much done. And they've got some talented guys on the defensive side of the ball, so I would give the win to Houston.
Yeah, I think Houston's going to win. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The fact that they've rested Lamar Miller up, I think he's going to be healed up and playing. DeAndre Hopkins has been getting more involved as of late, and I think regardless who's in at quarterback, it's going to be subpar play. But, I mean, Oakland, it's not only losing Derek Carr, it's like the timing of it. You know, they were ready to be the 2 seed, get a bye, a huge turnaround for their organization, and it's just like a huge emotional blow, and I just think it's going to be too tough to overcome that. Because they're such a young team, you know, and then their hopes were probably thinking Super Bowl, you know, not even conscious of what's going on and what's going to take to get there. But it sucks to see. And honestly, I hope the best for them. But yeah, I'm going to go with Houston, probably like 17-13, like something real low scoring.
As I'm talking right now, I still don't know who I'm going to pick. Whoever wins this game is just going to get slaughtered by New England. This is like whoever wins is just a sacrificial lamb. Tom Brady. That's what this is. You know what? I'll go against you too. I'll go with Oakland. Houston. I don't trust in the playoffs. I think they won the one game one time against Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
But it seems like they don't show up in the playoffs. It seems like they don't play well. So. Screw it. I'll take Oakland. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? All right, next game, Seattle and Detroit. This game's going to be on Saturday night. Who wins this one?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Matthew Stafford goes in there and beats Seattle at home. Yep.
Yeah.
Got a chip on his shoulder after losing this close one to the Packers, so I say they go in there and they beat Seattle. Because that team is not whole. They are just been so inconsistent all throughout the year. And losing Earl Thomas was huge, so I think that offense could do a little damage against them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle here, and I don't think it's going to be that close. I think it might be in the beginning, but I really think that their defense is going to play good. They got the home playoff game. Detroit, I really like what they've done all year, but it was a lot of it was coming back late in the fourth quarter, comeback kids. And that does go to show, you know, the heart and the leadership of Matt Stafford, but I don't think Seattle's going to let that happen. I think I like them like 27-16, something like that. I think Russell Wilson will play good, and I don't think it's going to be that close. You know, Adrian, check the score of the Penn State game when you get a chance.
Yeah. Don't say Kyle's got it on DVR. He hasn't watched it yet. We're not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I don't know what the score is. I don't know.
It sounds good. Sounds good, James. Sounds like a good thing happened.
Well, I'm taking Seattle. It's playoffs. It's their time. But the Seahawks are the biggest wild card in this entire postseason. What team is going to show up? This team, like Kyle was saying, it has been inconsistent all season long. They've got no offensive line. The defense is still very, very good, but it's not Seattle defense. It's not top of the line, elite type of defense. They're still top 5. They're like fringe top 5, but they're still up there. But there's something up with this team this year. Just something up. I think they'll beat Detroit. Detroit's not playing well either coming in, so they've lost 4 in a row, right? So
yep.
Yeah, I would take the Seahawks, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions won this game. Like just something crazy happens. I wouldn't be shocked, but I will take Seattle, and I will take them like 24-20. I think this game might be somewhat close, but I think Seattle will win the game. So that's my thoughts on that. Next game. What is the next game? I think it's Miami and Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I'm going to have to give this one to Pittsburgh. Yes, Miami did beat them earlier in the season down in Miami, but they're coming up to Pittsburgh. They're playing well. They rested their guys. Le'Veon Bell's fresh. Roethlisberger's going to get that shoulder in check. Antonio Brown. I think they're just going to destroy this. The defense has been playing better for Miami. I just think this offense is just too superior, and they're going to just slice him. He's going to shred them to bits.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just one more thing about the Detroit game. I think if Detroit's going to win, it's going to be a very close game, but that's why I don't think it's going to get there. But I wouldn't be surprised if they won. Seattle's been really weird for them this year.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But with Miami, Pittsburgh, yeah, it's another one. I got Pittsburgh by like 2 touchdowns, man. I think that this is the offense. I mean, they were a Super Bowl pick before the season. Their defense is brought into shape. They're healthy. It's a home game, Miami. I don't know what the status is with Tannehill. I know Matt Moore's been playing good, but I think Pittsburgh at home. I don't think. I think they'll be ready to go and they'll win. And I guess if they win, it'll match up with Kansas City probably. So that'd be a good game. But yeah, I got Pittsburgh by like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, we'll probably be wrong. Wow.
Yeah. All year.
Yeah, all year I've been doubting the Dolphins, and I feel the same way. I feel like Pittsburgh's going to blow them out, like something like 38-17 or something, And home game in Pittsburgh, Miami really doesn't have that playoff experience. New head coach. Yeah, I do love Adam Gase. Again, we all know this. Freaking Doug Peterson.
It's going to be cold in Pittsburgh, too. So Miami don't like that cold weather.
Yeah, the Dolphins are going to get frozen in the snow. They want to, won't get the. Yeah, so I don't see it. I don't see it. I just don't.
I mean, you can move the ball against the Steelers' defense. They played a lot better towards the end of the season, but if they can get Jay Ajayi going, I know they're hurt on the defensive line. Hayward's out. You got a lot of young rookies playing in there. Tuitt might be back by the playoffs. Shazier is the heartbeat of that team, and Artie Burns has been coming up big, and so is Sean Davis too. So that rookie tandem has been playing really well in that secondary.
Yeah. All right. The game that we're all looking forward to on Wild Card Weekend. I'll tell you what, Wild Card Weekend isn't really that great this year because I feel like 3 of the games are like pretty much – well, one game's shit. The other 2 are like potential blowouts. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the Seattle game because Seattle's been weird this year. But the creme de la creme, the great game of the weekend on Sunday afternoon, late Sunday afternoon, as Giants head into the frozen tundra. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, and New York. 2 teams that are playing really, really well right now. So who wins that one?
I got to give it to the Packers just because they're playing with great momentum. I just think they're going to be able to stop them only because Eli Manning and that offense isn't playing really well. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to, even though the defense of the Giants have been playing really great, I think he'll find some way to dice them up like he does every other team. He'll move the ball down the field. And I just think that they've been so inept. They've been scoring 15 points and less, the Giants' offenses has. And even though Green Bay Packers' defense isn't that good, they'll be able to get to Eli because Eric Flowers has just been abysmal at the left tackle. You put Clay Matthews over there, he's going to eat him alive. So I think they'll be able to get to Eli and disrupt this putrid offense that they've been playing really bad lately.
Yeah, I got the Packers. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Aaron Rodgers will win it like he's been doing. And we've been talking about this leading up to this point. If the Packers do run the table and get in the playoffs, they're going to be a really dangerous team, potentially matching up with Dallas. And we all know we want them to beat Dallas. But, yeah, I mean, New York's defense is its calling card. It's weird because I thought going into the year the offense is what's going to click for them, but it really hasn't. I mean, you have Odell Beckham Jr. putting up his numbers. Besides that, I mean, Sterling Shepard's been solid, not great as a slot guy. Not a big running game. I mean, I know they had like 150 yards rushing against Washington, but I think Green Bay home playoff game, I got them winning probably like 24-17, 24-21, something like that. And, yeah, I think Eli's going to pulling Eli and turn the ball over. I hope so at least.
Yeah, I got it like 23-20 Packers. I think it'll be a close game. I think it's going to be a good game. The key for the Giants, it's going to be Odell Beckham because late in the season, the Green Bay secondary has gotten better with the return of Demarius Randall, but they're still not exactly the best secondary in the world. And if Odell Beckham can get going, that's the way I can see the Giants winning. The Giants, you referenced the running game. I like Paul Perkins a little bit. They were so reluctant to play him. It seemed like for a lot of the season, they just kept going to Rashad Jennings, and Mr. McAdoo was like too stubborn to make a change. But I like Perkins. I like his jump cutting ability. I think he's got something. I think he can be pretty solid back in this league. We'll see what happens on Sunday, but yeah, this is where the Giants. This is what they're supposed to do, I guess. Every 4 years. I mean, it's.
Yeah, they're a little maybe they're a year late, but we'll see if that happens. I like Perkins too. I like him coming out of the draft. One of the Dynasty Elite fantasy leagues I play in, I grabbed him in the late rounds. I thought he fell pretty far, and I was hoping to see more out of him before too. I mean, he showed some good playmaking ability, catching the ball to the backfield. When I think Jennings went down there playing like Orleans Darkler or someone. So we'll see, but I mean, they definitely need some help on the O-line too. I think they have some issues up there, and if they're going to run the football, it's got to be addressed. But yeah, it should be a good game. I mean, I'm excited. That's the one I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah, and in terms of like that offensive line and the running game, obviously it hurts, but in the passing game, they do get rid of the ball so quick. Like their offensive line stinks, but when you look at the statistics, they actually don't give up a lot of sacks, and that's because of that offense and the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
That ball is out. That ball is out really quick. So, so that is that. So those are our predictions for the wild card round. The only one that I picked Oakland. You guys picked Houston. Kyle picked Detroit. So that's going to reflect in the way we're going to do the divisional round then, because obviously in Kyle's bracket, you're going to have Detroit playing Dallas, and James and I are going to have Green Bay playing Dallas. So I guess we'll start with that one. All right. So. Dallas and Detroit, Kyle, you can go, and then we'll go and pick Dallas and Green Bay.
But I hope the Packers do play Dallas because I think Dallas would run over Detroit. I don't think they have the capability. I think they would. They can't pressure the quarterback. I think Dak. They don't have the greatest secondary, and they call them the Lost Orphans with Rob Manarelli. They're not a lot of sexy names out there, but they just get the job done. They fly to the ball. They're quick. And they can tackle. Sean Lee is one of the best linebackers in the league. So if that matchup does happen, I see Dallas advancing, which I would hate to see. And their defensive line isn't that good. Ziggy Ansah has been hurt all year. Haloti Ngata's aging, and he's pretty much done. So I think Zeke would, and that offensive line would own that defensive line, and it would be really, really ugly. I think they would blow them out, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much the same scenario happened a couple weeks ago, and it was close in the beginning, and Dallas just ran away with it because that's what they do. They grind you, man. Their offensive line grinds you, and by the end of the game, you look up at the scoreboard, and they've gone ahead by 2 touchdowns. So I definitely think if that's the matchup, Dallas rolls. But, I mean, yeah, if it's Green Bay, Dallas, I definitely think Green Bay's got a legitimate shot to beat them, and I think they would. I know that we've talked about this before, and I think that if the Packers win the next week, they're going to be rolling. Aaron Rodgers goes in, lights up that secondary, and Green Bay rolls to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I got Green Bay in this game. I really do. And I think inexperience is going to be part of it. I just got a gut feeling on Dallas. I don't think they're going to win their game, and that's just what it is. But I will say this, because you were talking about, all these unnamed guys on that defense, and Rod Marinelli does a fantastic job. And I know the rookies that get talked about are Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, but there's 2 other guys that have really caught my eye too there. On the defensive line, they got a 3rd rounder by the name of Malik Collins. It's been an absolute beast the last last month of the season, something like that. And Anthony Brown, their 6th-round guy from
Purdue.
Yeah, from Purdue. He's been outstanding as well as a cornerback. And because that secondary isn't exactly the best. I don't think it is. And statistically, in passer rating allowed, they are one of the worst teams in the league. So I think Aaron Rodgers can light that secondary up, and I think the Packers are going to win. I think it's going to be an instance where Dallas is going to have to play catch-up on the scoreboard, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I don't think Dak is going to be able to match Aaron Rodgers score for score. So I see something like, even though the score might not reflect the shootout, I'm going to say like 27-23 Green Bay. The reason why I say that, I think the possessions will be limited because of the way Dallas plays. They like to, drain the clock, control the ball, stuff like that, run it. So instead of like a 10-possession, 12-possession game, it'll be like 8 possessions, and Green Bay will win it 27-23. So I got the Packers moving on. So that's interesting. Dallas first.
Dallas's defense. I mean, you named 2 players there too. That Malik Collins and Anthony Brown, is that his name for the cornerback? Yeah, I hadn't even heard of him. I've seen Malik Collins play, and he's playing great. Also, Nate Irving, I think they pretty much found him out of nowhere.
Yeah, they found a lot of guys.
Yeah, Claiborne kind of stepped up. It seems like he's actually serviceable now. And I mean, the tandem at safety, I do like their 2 safeties. And I really like Byron Jones.
Byron Jones is awesome.
I love Byron Jones.
He's really good. He's really good. But yeah, I think Dallas is going to try and keep the ball away from Rodgers, and that's the way they play. They grind it out. And if they're behind, they're not built. I don't even think we've seen them play from behind at all, really have to come back from multiple scores where they had to go away from the run game. And if that's what happens, Dak is – when the pressure's been on him, he hasn't been as good, and that's when Green Bay can tee off on him. I mean, rookie quarterback in the playoffs, you're going to want to put some pressure on him trying to come from behind. And if that happens, Dallas is in trouble in that game.
Dom Capers has got a lot of exotic blitzes, so he could really make it troublesome for that kid. He's never been in this situation. He can say he's never really struggled under pressure, but this is a whole different monster when you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. But they do have the style of play that can beat Green Bay. I do believe that. Just keep Rodgers off the field, but Green Bay right now, the way they're playing, I don't see them losing that game. All right, next game. All right, for Kyle, it would be Atlanta and Green Bay, and for James and I, it would be Atlanta and Seattle. So, Green Bay, Atlanta, who you got, Kyle?
Man, that is such a shootout. I'd still have to go with the Packers because they're on that hot streak, and we've seen this year in and year out with Atlanta. Not as far as the past couple of years, but when they were going 14-2 and they had that high-octane offense, this will be key to see if they choke and if they can advance, because that's always been their problem. Matty Ice has gotten his nickname for being cool as a cucumber under pressure, but then he would choke and throw a pick when it mattered most. So
hold the playoffs.
Yeah, he's completely just like a whole different player. So will he be able to get over his own hump with the team and move that team on? But I don't think he can. Just the way Rodgers is playing, they're so good. They're both great quarterbacks. They both can sling it. They got really great receivers. It will be a shootout. It'll be like a couple years when they played Arizona and it was 51-45. It was
a great game.
It was awesome. I think it will be another shootout like that, but Aaron Rodgers comes away with the win because of how clutch he is and the way he's been playing this season.
Yeah, it'll be a good matchup. Definitely be fun to watch. And after I give my prediction here, I'll be talking about that for the next round, because I think Atlanta beat Seattle at home. It's just, I did say I think Seattle will blow out Detroit. It's because I don't think Detroit's that good. But going to Atlanta, I think Atlanta's got something to prove, especially if Matt Ryan doesn't win the MVP. I think that he'll be kind of feeling like he got shortchanged there. And it'll be, I think Dan Quinn gets the win over his old team. It'll be a big game, huge ratings definitely for that. I just think Atlanta's got too much firepower, especially at home. So I would have them beating Seattle. Probably, I think they pull away at the end. Seattle might keep it close, but I just don't think they have the offense to keep up with Atlanta. And Atlanta's run game, it's traveled. That'll be a home game, but it's travel on the road too, so it's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they'll be trying to exact some revenge too after the passing interference debacle early in the season on Julio Jones. So, that game to me is like the biggest coin flip there is, I think, because I don't know which team to expect from Seattle, and I also don't know which team to expect from Atlanta because of the past history with Matt Ryan? Is this going to be different than prior seasons? Is he going to be able to shake off the label? Because before they would get the home playoff games in the divisional round, they get the byes and then they'd lose. They just lose in their first game, and they'd always bow out early. And so I'm really curious to see what Atlanta does. I am gonna trust in how they've been playing late in the season. I think it'll translate, and I think they will beat Seattle. I don't trust Seattle right now. The last month, from what I've seen, I don't trust them. But at the same time, they haven't had really much to play for. The division they pretty much knew they were going to win the division, so they've been kind of waiting for the postseason. Maybe this is when they flip the switch. I mean, I thought for a second they were about to flip the switch, but it hasn't really happened. The second half of the season is supposed to be when they flip the switch, and it just never really has happened. There's just something up with Seattle this year, and I'm going to take the Falcons as well. So Falcons, Green Bay for James and I in the NFC Championship game, and a game that we discussed earlier, Green Bay and Dallas for Kyle. So interesting. All right. Moving on to the AFC side of things, I don't really think we have to talk long on this. New England, Houston, New England, Oakland. We can just sweep this. We don't even need. Yeah.
New England, even close. Second.
Yeah. This might be like 62-7.
It's going to be a slaughtering. It's not going to be. This might be worse than the Houston Raiders game, actually. This shouldn't even be televised. It should be blacked out because he's just going to go off on them. It's not even going to be fun to watch. Just give Belichick the win and the ticket to the AFC Championship game.
All right. Now, the next game on the docket, this one I'm looking forward to. I think this would be a juicy matchup if it comes to fruition. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. On the road in Kansas City. Pittsburgh, obviously with that great offense going up against that great defense of Kansas City. So what do you guys think?
I still think the offense prevails here because of the experience of Ben Roethlisberger. And defense wins championships. I just think he could expose it. I think there are some weaknesses. There's just too much firepower on the Steelers offense. You got Le'Veon Bell, you got Ben Roethlisberger, you've got Antonio Brown, the best receiver, and they've had other receivers step up like a Sammy Coates, and Green is finally healthy at the tight end position. You got Jesse James, so they can really spread it out and move it all over the place. I just don't think Kansas City has the firepower to play from behind. They're another team like Dallas that grinds the ball out, has a great run game, and kind of just dinks and dunks down the floor and then bleeds the clock.
Yep. I've been thinking about this matchup for a while. I really don't know who I'm going to take. It's really the time comes, it's going to be reflective of how Pittsburgh played against Miami. The thing, we know how good Andy Reid is off the bye in the regular season, and I think he's 3-0 off the bye in the playoffs. I think I saw that on Twitter today, and obviously those would be, I guess, all with the Eagles when they get the byes. And he really knows how to get his team ready. I think Pittsburgh's beatable. Their defense hasn't been the best. Big Ben has struggled on the road at times this year and in years past in the postseason. Something inside me is telling me Kansas City. So I'm going to go with Kansas City. Wouldn't surprise me either way. And I think if the Steelers do get the win, that they have the potential to beat New England. But I'm going to take Kansas City, and I think it's going to be close, but I just think that defense can make one more play than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was going to be my point was Andy Reid's going to get the bye. And from what I remember, all right, so I think they've had the bye when? 2002, they kicked the shit out of the Falcons.
Definitely had it in 2004.
Yeah, because they beat up on what was it? They beat up on Minnesota 2004?
I believe so, yeah.
And what was it? So 2003 they were. God, I'm already forgetting who it was. So 2003 was.
I'm gonna try and look it up here.
That was 4th and 26. 2003. So that was the one they didn't blow them out, but obviously they got lucky to win that game. But I picked Kansas City. That was my preseason pick was Kansas City versus New England. in the AFC Championship game. I think that you can move the ball in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I was right.
3-0 in the divisional round after a bye. Combined, just to add this, 19-2 combined regular season and postseason after the bye. So,
yeah. When he gets that time to prepare, he does a great job. And I'll take Kansas City. I think Pittsburgh's defense isn't like the greatest thing in the world. I think you can move the ball on them, and we'll see about obviously that's the juicy matchup is watching that Pittsburgh offense go against Kansas City's defense. But I think that they're at home. They got the bye thing going for them with Andy Reid. I think Kansas City will win it, and I think it's going to be a great game. So I'll take Kansas City like 20-17, something like that. Yeah, like it'll be a great game. All right, so championship Sunday. Now we're on to that. Kyle's got Green Bay going against Dallas, and James and I have Green Bay going to Atlanta on the NFC Championship. So James and I have pretty much had the same picks throughout this whole thing.
Well, I think with a team like Dallas, they've been playing really well, and I think sometimes getting a first-round bye for the first two teams actually hurts some of them because you kind of cool off. You don't have that rhythm. You're a little rusty. You come out a little slow. So I think that's going to happen to Dallas. I think that's why they wanted to play Dak and a couple of those guys to kind of keep them in motion and keep them playing really well. It also helps them, though, with the left tackle. You get some of your players rested. So I still think Aaron Rodgers comes in here and shits all over that defense, because I don't think their defense is that good. And I think the superior play of Aaron Rodgers just prevails and takes them all the way to the Super Bowl. I think he's still bitter about a couple years ago when he got screwed on that botch onside kick. So he wants a taste of the Super Bowl again. So
we're all taking the Packers over Dallas. How about that? We're not biased or anything.
Yeah, I think with our matchup, Green Bay at Atlanta, that'll be a hell of a game. I mean, a lot of offense, and it'll be in a dome, so that usually leads to more scoring. I'm gonna go with Green Bay just because they'll be hot. They'll have it'll be a big emotional win over Dallas, especially after they've went 14-2, pretty much been the best team in the league all year. Them in the New England. And Aaron Rodgers will be hot, and he's hungry for another Super Bowl. Like you said, couple years ago, they got robbed in Seattle because of the one guy couldn't catch a damn ball. So I think I got them, like, I would say, like, maybe like 37-31, like 34-27, like really high scoring. But I think Aaron Rodgers, he'll be able to smell it. He's been there before. 1-1, lost 1, right? He's 1-1 in Super Bowls, or is he 1-0? 1-1?
1-1, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if they even gotten to another Super Bowl.
No, I think they're 1-0.
Yeah, they're 1-0.
Yeah, they're 1-0. Okay. So yeah, I mean, he's going to want to get there. He's getting older, and he knows he's one of the best to ever do it. So add to his legacy. So yeah, I would take Green Bay in that game.
Yeah, as would I. These two teams played earlier in the season. Atlanta won. That was a great game. Offensive game. I forget what the score was off the top of my head, but
I just looked at it.
There you go. So, I'll take the Packers as well. But tell you what, both these teams right now are red hot. Two great quarterbacks going at it, and I think these two quarterbacks are going to go after each other in this game. But I trust Aaron Rodgers more in a playoff game than I do Matt Ryan, and that's why I'm going to take the Packers in this game. So all three of us have the Packers going to the Super Bowl. That's insane. AFC side of things. So who picked Pittsburgh? You picked Pittsburgh, Kyle?
I picked Pittsburgh. Yep.
So you got Pittsburgh, New England. James and I have New England and Kansas City. So I would imagine again it's a sweep across the board. Right?
Yeah, New England's going all the way to the Super Bowl. Even though it would be fun to watch Roethlisberger and Tom Brady go, it's hands down. Tom Brady just is the better quarterback overall. I think he would pick apart that defense. It's not Pittsburgh Steelers defenses of old. They're shoddy. They have very young players in there. They have no pass rush. And when you don't get any pressure on Tom Brady, he's just going to sit back there and pick you apart and eat you alive. So him and Belichick go back to yet another Super Bowl. And I hope that does happen because I'd love to see Tom Brady face Aaron Rodgers in a Super Bowl. I think that would be one of the best Super Bowls in the past 20 years.
Yeah, I got New England. They win at home over KC, and I just think that KC doesn't have enough on offense to stick with the Patriots. I know how good they are in defense, and I know I love Andy Reid as a head coach, but I just don't think they have enough. The running game struggled late in the year. Alex Smith he's good. He's not great, and there's a theme with me in the playoffs. I usually bet on the quarterback, so I'd go with New England. And really, the only three teams I really see having a legitimate shot to win this year would be, I guess, New York, as much as I hate to say it, just because of what they've done. And Eli has played well in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs, and the Super Bowls. Tom Brady and the Patriots, Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers, or Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So it really always comes down to defense and quarterback play. And this year, I think the quarterback play is going to win out.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh would give New England a lot better of a game.
Yeah,
Match up better because, the way New England they're not great. They're not a great pass rush, and if you're going to give Big Ben all day to throw, I think he can pick you apart. Kansas City, I don't think matches up as well. I would think New England would win this game pretty handily, even though it really didn't happen last year. But I would think they win by 2 touchdowns, 27-13 or something. So New England and Green Bay in the Super Bowl. All three of us picked the same damn thing. How original.
There wasn't really a runaway team though in the AFC.
AFC. The AFC is easy. The NFC is a little bit more wide open.
Difficult.
Yeah, even though we all picked the same thing. We picked 10-6 Green Bay. How about that?
And we're all from this general area, so that's our bias against Dallas. Because I'm sure if you get national doing it, you'll have a couple of them all Dallas going, but. Yeah, that'll be a great Super Bowl, man. 12 versus 12, as I've been saying, would be awesome. I think it's the two best quarterbacks. I guess I got to say three. I got to include Peyton Manning. But, they're the three best I've seen growing up. It's been a freaking privilege to watch them play. And whoever wins that game, I don't have a bias against New England, even as an Eagles fan. I know a lot of us do after what happened. But I just respect the hell out of what they've been doing, the dynasty they've put together. And if Brady gets his 5th ring, be great to see. If Aaron gets his 2nd, that'd be great to see. So, I think that might be the highest rated Super Bowl maybe ever.
It would. Like I said, it would be the best quarterback play or the best Super Bowl we've seen in the past 20 years. They're the two best quarterbacks in the league right now and have been, and Peyton Manning in there too, even though I'd pick Aaron Rodgers over Peyton. But we have been blessed to watch these guys play. It's got to be the greatest generation for quarterback play. I know people say Joe Montana, Joe Namath, blah, 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 Steve Young, but these guys.
Joe Namath can get out of that conversation. It's terrible. But no, Joe, it's a different era. Yeah, I would say Joe
Unitas.
said it once. Johnny U with the bad era, Joe Montana, the middle era, and it's this era, as you were saying. Best quarterback play, different, not a lot of defense, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, for the longest time, I thought Peyton was better than Tom, and now, the last couple years, my thought has changed a little bit on that, and because Tom has continued to sustain this excellence, and it really is amazing at 39 years old what he's able to do. Really incredible. So, I would take New England in that Super Bowl. I was really looking forward to New England and Seattle, when they played a couple years ago. So, technically, I guess this wouldn't be the most Super Bowl I'd be looking forward to. I was really looking forward to that one, but
that was a fun Super Bowl.
Awesome, and that was a great game too. Yeah, obviously, but this one is right up there though. If it does come to fruition, to see Aaron Rodgers go against Tom Brady, obviously that would be amazing. Obviously, so but I would take New England. I think they just have a better team, even though Green Bay is a team that would be red hot coming in. I don't really have any expertise I can give you. I just have a gut feeling. I just think New England's going to win the Super Bowl.
Better coached.
Yeah.
I think better coach, and I don't know if I said it, but I would take New England too. Better running game. Deion Lewis has looked good. Garrett Blunt, obviously, he's going to wear a defense down. And, the Patriots' pass defense, you touched on it earlier, not that good. I think it would be a pretty high-scoring game. But I think New England – they've always had a good game plan pretty much for every team they've played. And I think with that, they try to run the football and keep the ball out of Rodgers' hands. And you just can't bet against Tom Brady. I mean, he's lost 2 games by like the freaking one possession. I mean, what was it? It was like 17-14 and something like that, like 21-17. You know, we all remember those Super Bowls. So, and he put his team in a position to win both those games. So I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is so good. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it goes either way.
It would go down who would have the last possession of the game, who would win that game, because they're both clutch quarterbacks. It would come down to the final drive.
Yeah,
it would be awesome.
Yeah, I would have I'd have something like 34-31, something like that in that game. It's a coin flip, I think.
Yeah,
it'd be a great game.
It would be awesome. I honestly hope that'd be good for the NFL. It really would.
It would. I hope it does happen.
It would definitely be great for the NFL, though, with the way it was earlier in the year, and everyone was talking about the ratings being down and all this crap and stuff like that, and the game, the way it's being official, it's amazing because I've been watching early 1990s playoff games recently. I've had a big kick on it. I got all these torrents and it's amazing. Yeah, I'm weird. I do that shit, and yeah, I watch a lot of old games, but
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it too. I love watching football, but watching that era, man, like you see it like a big hit, and you see John Madden getting all excited when he's doing the broadcast with Pat Summerall, and I'm watching these games. I'm like, targeting. He should get flagged. Targeting. It's unbelievable back then. Back then it was a great hit. Now it's there's so much controversy with every single hit, everything you do. It's amazing to see because I was watching a game with Jim McMahon, and Jim McMahon was getting battered and bruised in this game. It was a game between the Giants and Vikings in 1993, a wild card game, and to see Jim McMahon, you could see him getting up. He's all woozy. He's all you could tell he's a little bit concussed, and he comes back in the game on the next drive. It's it's unbelievable, the eras, how everything has changed in the game of football. I mean, that McMahon hit that I saw, it would have been a roughing the passer penalty, no doubt in my mind. But back then, you got John Madden, he's praising it. He's oh, what a hit. What a great hit. And it really is incredible. That was only 23 years ago.
Not that long ago.
I wasn't even the 70s or 80s. This was the 90s.
And that's what I liked about football. All the tenacious and the violence and the hitting. That's what I like. And they don't really even let them play anymore. Yeah, player safety I can kind of understand, but some of these calls are a bit ridiculous. They don't even let them touch them half the time, which is come on, man. It's a contact sport. And they're kind of taking the fun out of it a little bit. They don't even let them fucking celebrate when they get a touchdown. It's too flag happy half the time. So I hope that changes a little bit throughout the playoffs, and they let them play a little bit more, as opposed to being determined by 100 penalties. I mean, that's the average now. What is it, 90 penalty yards a game for each team? It sucks. And that's
I'll have to make a video if I can find these clips again. Seriously, I'm wow, that's definitely a penalty in today's NFL, but back then it wasn't, and it's amazing.
Brian Dawkins wouldn't have been able to play in this era of football.
No.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, growing up, that's why I love football too. I played it, and I would get so excited when I'd hit somebody hard or when I'd see a big hard hit on TV. I loved it, man. And in the beginning of all this, player safety and everything, I was you can't take contact out of a contact sport. And I really think they've gone too far. I think they are too pass happy. But I really do understand why they're doing what they're doing, and I think we all do. I mean, concussions are nasty. CTE's even nastier, Yeah. And they got to do something. And the thing is, I think – really, I think they only help their retired players the first 5 years they do a lot, and after that it's they don't do much. And if the NFL is going to establish themselves, one, as an entertainment industry, they should let players celebrate a little more than they do after touchdowns. That just came back. I had a thought on your comment there, Kyle. But two, I mean, these guys go out there and it's a product of the players on the field, and that's who we pay to go see play, why we watch TV. Protect them after. They give 10, 20 years, a lot of them. Protect them. Give them health care. Give them whatever they need. The NFL makes so much damn money.
They do. They kind of shy the players on that, which is bullshit, because they put their bodies on the lines, and they do, and they should get a plan after that. Half of them can't even walk. So maybe if they had something a little bit more instilled, that's what they should work on. But you can understand why they're trying to prevent CTE. That stuff is nasty. You've seen players kill themselves over. You don't want to see anybody get hurt or crippled or anything. So they have to find that easy medium.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll pretty much do final thoughts now. Anything you guys want to say before we depart?
Man. It sucks. I'm sad that football's over. It's a shame that it was week 17. Now we're only get, 1 or 2 games now. College football has come to an end. I'm pretty excited to watch Bama play Clemson, a rematch. I really hope Bama gets beat this time. I hope Clemson comes out with a win.
I think Clemson's going to win.
I hope Clemson wins. It's going to be a great offense versus a great defense.
Yeah, I think Bama just effectively immediately terminated Lane Kiffin. I know he got the other job, but Steve Sarkisian's taking over play calling duties for the national championship game, I'm surprised at that. Like, that's a huge move. I mean, he's just joining the organization, but Nick Saban, he's like Belichick in college, so we'll see. I mean, with that game, I have a weird feeling too. I think Clemson's been waiting for this game pretty much all year.
It's a gut feeling. I don't have any reasoning behind it.
Me neither. I have a gut feeling Clemson's going to beat them. Yeah, and I've said it before, I love Dabo Swinney. I think he's a great coach.
Great coach.
So that'll be a great game. And then I just caveat here, Coach of the Year in the NFL, Belichick, I don't think's won one yet. Why the hell not? I think he should be the
case. Damn it.
Yeah, with the job he's done, with not having Brady. I mean, people are going to say Jason Garrett in Dallas, but fuck Dallas. No, sorry for the F-bomb, but hate him that much. So I say give it to Belichick. He's one of the best coaches ever. I mean, come on, 14-2.
And year in and year out, he's won that division for the past 8-10 years. They've owned it. They've always gone. I can't remember the last time they've had under 11 wins.
It's almost like if you're a great team year to year, it takes away from the coach.
Oh yeah, definitely does.
Yeah, it does. It's a shame. I don't know if he gets slighted too because of the cheating allegations. I think that has something to do with it, but he should win Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year is basically the equivalent of Most Improved Team Award. That's the same thing. It's all right about the F-bomb, by the way. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I know, but we do try to stay away from those.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to now because I'm on Fox's radar, and I just don't want if they're watching something, I don't want them seeing me throwing F-bombs around. If it's EDP,
show them the Mondays with EDP, man.
Yeah, well, actually, they probably love that shit. No, but EDP, man. Yeah, he throws F-bombs, but that's whatever. As long as I'm not saying it, that's all I care about. So, yeah, I guess that'll be my final thought. Can't wait to be on Fox again. I don't know when that's going to happen, but
I take it. Did you say that with Bill Belichick? Was that your final thought?
No.
I
didn't really have a final thought. I just kind of asked, and I always just kind of piggyback on whatever anybody says. So I don't really have anything.
Did you have a favorite sports theme for? Let's touch on 2016 real quick. Did you have a favorite sports moment for 2016
Well, I don't like Villanova, so
me neither. That's the one that comes to mind, though.
Oh, the Cubs winning the World Series. There you go. That game, Game 7 was unbelievable.
That was one of the best World Series. The way it ended too. You took mine.
Yeah,
gonna be mine. That was a great.
And then, Golden State, Cleveland.
And then other
series.
Golden State, that's yours. That was a great series too.
Cleveland. That's probably not my favorite moment, but that whole series was just unbelievable. I think I was at Firefly when that series ended, so I didn't even watch the game. But yeah, that was a hell of a series. For me, it's just I'm just, as an Eagles fan, I'm so elated with Carson Wentz, the player. Yeah. He's been up and down all year, and we've all know what they got to do. They got to put players around him. They got to coach him up, and whether he has the right coaches around him is a question mark. But I think on his own, I think he's going to work as hard as he can to improve. I mean, he's allowed to go work with anybody he wants in the offseason. Who knows? He could end up working with maybe Ron Jaworski or some quarterback that's retired that's good with working with players. So I think he's going to be a lot better next year, and I'm excited to see it.
Do you take a running back or a wide receiver with their pick real quick, or would you rather them go defense in the draft?
I think they got to go corner, but I mean the best way to do it is, you're going to have your players ranked, and best player available, if it fits wide receiver, running corner, I would go with either of that. I think running back, I think the draft's so deep that they can wait. But I really do like the Cook out of Florida State.
Yeah,
Man.
he's awesome.
Leonard Fournette, I have a weird feeling about. I'd stay away from him, even though people are saying he might be even better than a prospect than Zeke. And you guys watch the LSU game? How about their freaking backup, man? That guy's
Juice.
Yeah,
that guy was awesome.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, I think corner, man. I mean, I think we honestly need two of them. And wide receiver, I do think they're going to bring Deshaun back. And if we can get a young, big-bodied one, put him on the outside, that would help a lot. And we definitely do need a running back too, because I mean, Matthews, I know he's not coming back, but they're saying his career might be over also with that injury. So
wow, that's freaking huge.
It's up in the air right now.
If Dalvin Cook is there or if Leonard Fournette is there, I want them.
It'd be tough to pass on them, you know.
Yeah, I'm not passing on them.
Either of them. I think.
I have a feeling about Fournette. I don't know why.
But I would. What'd you say? What was that, Fournette?
I have a weird feeling about him. Like, I mean, I see him play and everything about it, his place and his size and his speed ability and all that says he's going to be a great player. But that's just
the injuries. Are you afraid of the injuries?
I can see what you're saying because he seems to have a little bit of Jadeveon Clowney in him.
Yeah, that's like it's like something. I don't know. Maybe it's his work ethic, but I don't know anything about that. So it's just something about him. I just have a weird feeling he might not pan out.
For a guy to like sit out, okay, you want to sit out like a bowl game, like a shitty bowl game, fine. But like he sat out the Citrus Bowl. The Citrus Bowl's a pretty big deal, and
yeah, it is.
You know, it makes you look really selfish, and you know you're not there for your teammates and all this shit. LSU still like kicked the shit out of Louisville, whatever, but. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Dalvin Cook, though, I think he's
he's a beast.
He's incredible. But to Fournette's defense, he was injured pretty bad, and they don't want to have what happened to Jalen Smith last year.
Yeah, well, I completely get that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
for him, but not McCaffrey. I don't agree with McCaffrey. Was healthy, so I don't agree with what he did.
McCaffrey should have played.
Yeah,
and honestly, I think McCaffrey needs to do more to improve his draft stock. I mean. I think that
you need to make an impact on your draft. Like, why is Shock Linwood not playing? Like, that's just
I don't get that. But I mean, and also in Clowney's defense, he's had a bigger year this year, so maybe
he's had a good year this year.
You know, he just got to. It's the NFL. You're not going to get by on talent alone. You got to put in the work, and that's why the great ones become great because they have the talent and the work ethic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Looking at my phone, I see what you're talking about now, James.
Oh yeah.
And I've been told to take over videos. God damn it! All right. Yeah, that was 33 minutes ago, though. Okay, so I was gonna So basically, for me, running back, I would take if one of them are there, and then I'm going cornerback because the wide receivers in this class aren't like exceptional. I like Mike Williams. Corey Davis is getting a lot of buzz, but I don't think Corey Davis is – not that he's not anything special, but I don't think he's as good as everyone perceives him to be. I think he's just – he's solid, but I don't think he's like going to be a superstar or anything. I don't think there's a superstar wideout in this draft, but I think there's a lot of good cornerbacks in this draft. I like that Tabor kid.
Tabor out of Florida, he's nice.
Tabor, yeah. I'm going to really start watching the tape, right after the playoffs end, and I really get into it. The Senior Bowl and
so do I. The East and West game, I'll watch all that stuff.
Combine and I know like it's funny because like I can't pronounce any of the names, but I know who all of them are. So Tabor, whatever his name is.
Whatever it is, you could be right, but
I know when I see him, when I watch him, he's pretty damn good.
He's pretty good, and they have a good rapport with drafting, coming out with really good prospects out of Florida at cornerback.
Yes. Yeah. The other one I kind of like, Sidney Jones. I think he can be okay.
King out of Iowa, I kind of like. Humphreys is pretty good out of Bama too. He's not bad. But I would definitely just surround Carson Wentz with a weapon. I would go offense first round right away.
Well, it depends. Like if Mike Williams is gone, I wouldn't go wide out.
I think he's going to be gone. I think he's gone top 10.
And the thing is, with talent, like talent positions, he needs weapons. There's no doubt about that. But it's going to hurt if he doesn't get them next year, which I think they'll get him some help. But you got to be patient on these talent players. Like, you don't want to reach on somebody because they'll end up being a bust. And the same thing's going to happen with what's happened with Aguilar, which I'm not saying that was a reach. We can't afford another bust in a wide receiver position. Running back, I know we haven't really had a bust, but like we can't afford to bust out on an offensive skill position.
What I would do, I would take two guys. I would take one in the second round and one in the third.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I mean, and it's just the best. The way to draft is you got to stick to your rankings and just go, if the best player available that fits a need, unless there is like a monumental talent that's available that you just decide, you know what, this guy's too good to pass up on. Which, you know, Rodgers falling at 24. Look at him. Freaking half the teams that had a quarterback would have rather had Rodgers. So
bet you they're kicking themselves for that draft. And then Alex Smith, to his defense, is a good quarterback, but he's no Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Imagine he went to San Francisco and he was right in their backyard.
All right. Anyway, I hate to cut the show off.
Yeah.
I got bitched video. This went over an hour. This was insane. But yeah, we'll end this right now. Kyle Gaffner, James Worthington, I'm Adrian Fetcu. We will, if you guys want, we could do draft shows. That's fine. We could talk further about this if you guys want to down the line. Because that was a pretty nice exchange there last 10 minutes. But we're out. Peace out. Let us know in the comment section below if anyone is still watching. We have 5 live viewers still, amazingly. Let us know in the comment section below who you got in the Super Bowl. What are your playoff predictions? Who's going to win MVP? We're out. Peace.